All right. Hello, everybody. Hello. Check the connection. So, welcome to Professor Z's Entrepreneurship Talk Live. This is me taking the plunge. What does that mean? Taking the plunge meaning this is the first time I'm doing a live show on entrepreneurship. I've been doing classes online since obviously most of our classes are now moved to online, but I just decided that this is as good time as any to try out this live show. So I've decided to take the plunge myself. So what better time is to actually start talking about taking the plunge? If we are talking about taking the plunge and taking the plunge myself into this new venture thing I'm doing. All right, so I know it's a little bit of last minute this time. I just decided to try it and let's see how it goes. But I will continue to do live shows, maybe on a weekly basis. If it's possible to do a couple of times a week, I'll do so. But at least once a week. There's nothing that stops me from talking. I like to talk, so that is my agenda is to be able to talk, tell stories, and share things with my audience, share things with everyone. So if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship through my experiences, through my own personal experiences, stories, and what I know, and try to learn something, get inspired, or just get me to let you, to learn from you as well. I'd be happy to review business ideas, to answer questions, to tell more stories, to tell you what I think. A live chat is open. Feel free to post a question, and I will be happy to answer it. So today's topic is taking the plunge, and first let's start with a life update. This is what everybody else do, right? So life update. What is going on with my life? As you know, that I'm a man who wears many hats. Currently, I guess the first hat I will put on is I'm an entrepreneurship and business law professor at Lincoln University here in Pennsylvania. And as it stands right now, I am not able to teach on campus due to this coronavirus crisis. So all of our classes have moved on online back home, and that's where I'm doing my um, one second. That's where I'm doing my classes. And so I'm making a lot of videos and talking with students online and doing this distance learning thing. A little bit about that. I taught this distance learning for many years before this. So now teaching on campus, I always try to incorporate some of the distance learning things I learned in the past. So this has been not a huge transition. I think it's more of a transition for students than it is for me, but that's okay. We're working through it. And on top of that, all the other business things, I mean, I wear like 100 hats. There's many, many other businesses I deal with, and most of them are at a standstill. The second thing I said as an attorney, most of our courts are closed. You can't file anything, nothing moves forward. So that's been a little bit difficult time to adjust as well. And then the other businesses, we had great things planned this year. We were going to open a co-working space, a multimedia digital media studio, and taking on a couple of real estate projects. All of that is on hold. Not because we want to be on hold, but just everything generally is on hold. We we had purchased a residential rental property. It got renovated, but we couldn't get the inspector to come out right before the township closed. So now it's just sitting vacant. We can't rent it out. So that's going to take a little bit of time. We purchased the commercial building to turn that into a digital media studio, and that has not happened yet. We did demo in the building, but the renovation can't go forward because you can't go get a permit to be able to build out the space. We also under contract to purchase a co-working space, which I was hoping to be able to launch by in May or June, but that as it stands, I don't know if that's going to happen. Hopefully we can still do that because co-working space, I was really looking forward to it. I worked out of co-working space for some time, so I really enjoy co-working space. I would love to build my own community and be able to have my own space, do events, do live events, do give seminars, and do all kinds of cool stuff. And one of the coolest thing I was going to do with the co-working space is that we were going to, and I think we're still doing it, and we just don't know when we can do it. We are going to launch a incubator. For those of you who don't know what an incubator is, we are trying to start an incubator by bringing a group of entrepreneurs. We're going to focus on work at home, so home-based business, e-commerce business, as well as digital creators. And I want to get them all under one roof. We'll teach them how to start their business, build their skills, and also work on their crafts. And this way, we can help them become successful in their business ventures. So we're gonna have two tracks: the home-based business e-commerce track and also digital media track. It was supposed to start in June, so because the co-working space will be open, we will have space to do the classes, be able to offer things. I don't know if that's gonna happen at this point, but hopefully, sometimes in the summer, we can still move forward with that. So stay tuned on that. I had the website ready and everything, but we couldn't launch it because you just don't know what's gonna happen next. Anyway, so there's a lot of plunges that I want to take, and I'm not able to take that right now. So, cover the life update, the couple of new things. So we're talking about taking the plunge, and this is the first time ever I'm doing Instagram Live. So if you can't figure out from that side, but I'm doing Instagram Live on my phone, and I'm doing YouTube Live on the other phone. And I never tried Instagram Live before, and just started it. Let's see how it works. Hopefully, hey, how are you? So hopefully that will work out. Instagram is kind of like a new thing for young people, I suppose. I like taking photos, but I never got big on Instagram. I do YouTube and I do Facebook, the old people stuff. But I'm trying to do Instagram. So I'm gonna just, as long as I'm doing this live stream, like I'll just share on Instagram. I also let me wait. I also obviously have a podcast, and I'm trying to keep up with that. So I'm probably going to use these talks and story times as for the podcast. So now I feel like this is the appropriate time today to talk about taking the plunge as an entrepreneur. So I've been an entrepreneur for, maybe 20 some years. And I think I jot down some notes so I can talk about it. So the first thing I've ever done as an entrepreneur was as a web designer. And this started in 1995. So I figure I'll tell this story as a part of introducing how I got started as an entrepreneur and what I learned. So in 1995, I was fresh dropping out of high school, had not graduated from high school yet, had not gotten my GED yet, I don't think. But when I was in 12th grade in high school during the summer, I had a summer job. And the summer job was working for a toy company that made model anime characters. And the company's called Intellect. I don't think it exists anymore. Anyway, it's actually right down the street here in Ardmore. And so I was working there packing packages, sending out cool stuff. They have these Gundam, like a Mobile Suit Gundam or something similar, or maybe like Voltron kids, and that's what they sold. So one of the things they need is they need a catalog, and they send out a catalog, and it costs a lot of money to update the catalogs. So in 1995, as you remember, is the American Online days, is the days that people just started to getting online, maybe outside American Online. So the owner came to me when I was there and said, well, I really want to get a website, but nobody knows how to make a website. I even went to the business right next to Haverford College. I think they even tried to recruit some college students, but they weren't teaching web design back then. So since we're little kids that are working in the space, is like, well, if you guys know how to make a website, we'll pay you for it. And how much are you gonna pay? And I think he said about $600 or $700, somewhere around there. And it's a lot of money. First for a high school kid, and for a teenager, and second for back in 1995. So I said, you know what? I know how to make a website. I really didn't, but I said I will try it because the money was alluring, right? So I went back and I went to a bookstore, got a book on how to program basic HTML, and I realized, well, I started trying to make websites just so I can show that I can prove my worth and be able to get this contract. And it turns out that the HTML part was very easy, but making photos look good was very, very hard. So I had to figure out how to do image editing, and I knew nothing about it. So it took a long time to figure out. But one thing that really did help me, they had a catalog, and the catalog had really nice photos in it because that's how they sell their old toys. So I ended up learning how to get the photos from the catalog and then be able to make a website. So that's how I made my first website. I don't actually remember I got paid or not because I really wasn't good enough, but that was the first taste of being an entrepreneur, because this is what I figured out about entrepreneur. Every business has problems that need solving, and it might be a huge problem or might be some very small problem like a website. I think anyone taking a few days out of their life can figure out how to make a website, but they didn't do it because they didn't have the time to do it. They were running a business, and at the time the world's not full of web designers or coders like there are today, so it was a niche that I could get into. So after that experience, I started making websites, even though I had no experience before. But making that one website, that's why I said I don't remember if I got paid or not, because I made a website and I used that website as the portfolio starting piece so that I can go out and find another small business that needed a website that didn't have it. And then once I made that website, the next one, either for free or for a little bit of money, and then I asked them to allow me to put it on my portfolio. And next thing you know, I had a whole lot of websites, small websites, one-page websites, and I had a portfolio of websites. And that's how eventually, in 3 or 4 years, got me to get hired to design websites and front ends for a startup company, and when they really needed to find someone. So that entrepreneur story actually led to a job, and the job led to another job, led to a better job. And when I left those jobs, I come back to be an entrepreneur, and that's how it sustained in my entrepreneur journey for a good part of 15 years. So this story started in 95, 96-ish. I don't really remember exactly, but it led down a path for myself, part-time on the side, that all the way ran through the 2010. I think this ended in 2010. Yes, I became a webmaster of Philadelphia City Paper, all because years ago, during the summer, doing some, very low pay summer job, I decided that I wanted to try my hand on making a website, and they gave me a 15-year career as an entrepreneur making websites or making web applications for others. I will talk about more of those progressions in the future talk, how I pivoted from making websites to making web applications, not because it's more exciting or it's more fun. Trust me, it is not more exciting. But I did so because I then again later on in my career spotted that there is a need, and the need leads me to change my skill set and market myself differently, and that made me a different entrepreneur. So that's a story to be told later. So what did I like and what did I not like about it? I can tell you, I really do not like web design. I really didn't like web design really that much then. I still really don't like web design because design is such a subjective thing, right? So for example, I've been making these YouTube videos and I wear a t-shirt. I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. But I wear a t-shirt in my videos, and people always have a problem with my t-shirts. Well, I think it's cool because I made the designs on the t-shirts. I think the mood I'm projecting and the kind of personality I'm projecting, I think t-shirt says it all. But people have a problem with it because the aesthetics, the subjective opinion of people or what looks good or what doesn't look good, I'm not really all that about that. So, that's one thing about web design I really did not like. And I like functionalities because, excuse me, if you want to charge money on the website, if it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. If you want to, excuse me, if you want to have a login screen, it either work or it doesn't work. So being able to make something work was always my forte. I always made stuff work. And as long as you don't spend time picking on how it looks, that's easier for me to deal with, and I do a better job there. So that's what I didn't like. What I did like is, again, on the other hand, if you know something that other people don't know, you can always make money. Because one, you solve a problem where they have no solution for. Second, they can't really pick on what you do, right? Because they don't know what you do. If they knew what you do, they wouldn't be hiring you to paying you extra money to do something. It's just like making a website. If they knew how to make a website, they wouldn't hire me. They wouldn't hire a web designer. And by virtue of me knowing how to make something work and you don't, then you're going to give me some space, give some autonomy and freedom for me to operate. So I think as an entrepreneur, one of the things I always enjoyed, it doesn't happen all the time, but as far as I can get it, if I deliver the goods, I deliver the results, people are generally okay with my antics and my methods, and that allows me to be who I am, right? So as I said earlier, I am a lawyer. When I get to know a client, maybe I don't want to dress up today. Maybe I don't wear a suit and tie. Maybe I show up in a business meeting in shorts and a t-shirt. That, that's not really good etiquette. But if they like what I have for them, if they like what I have to deliver and what I can offer, they accept that. And that's a really big plus for me. So I really like the freedom being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of drawbacks of being an entrepreneur, and as the stories go on, we'll talk about it in a later time. But yes, I really do enjoy the freedom. So, what lessons learned did I learn from it? Did not learn from it? First, let's talk about the lessons I learned. The lessons I learned is that you have to be able to spot opportunities and know when you can solve a problem for someone. If you can solve a problem for someone, there is money to be made. If someone has a solution for a problem, but the solution doesn't solve all of their problem, then there is a space for you to go and provide a better solution. And that actually, a lot of time, might be an easier sell than selling something completely new, because a lot of people are not early adapters, right? When Apple come out with a new phone, some people will not buy the new phone until the next update. Some people will line up outside of the store and they will pay any amount of money to buy anything new. But most business people are very tight on cash. They're careful on what they have to spend. So some consumers as well. So by offering a solution that's kind of being tried, but it's not true. It's being tried. It's not so good, but you'll provide a better solution. A lot of times, that's actually a better way to sell something. So that's a lesson I learned. And then also, again, I want to reiterate this every single time, is that, and if you have something that other people don't have and they know they don't have it, you have all the latitude to do something with what you have. I A lot of people don't. For example, a lot of people don't like public speaking, and they get on stage and they're afraid they say something wrong, and they're afraid that people judge them on what they say. I gotta tell you something about public speaking. Most of the time, when you get a chance to speak publicly because someone wanted to hear something you say, and they want to hear you because they don't know what you're going to say and they don't know much about the subject. So they don't really know if what you're saying is really better or not really that good. So you have all the freedom to just to say what you think, and most people won't challenge you on it. So that's why being a teacher is fairly easy in a way, because you can get up there and just talk and project confidence, and people will listen to you. And maybe they go home and figure out, well, that guy's full of crap, and he's not that good. But at the moment, if they knew they were going, if they know the subject well, they wouldn't be listening to you in the first place. So they're not going to catch you saying something that's not good. But if they don't know something, they will be intently listening to you and giving you the benefit of the doubt. So you should never be afraid of public speaking. Just get on there, like me right now, sitting here talking to a camera, or going in front of 100, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people and just say what's on your mind. And so business, if you want to sell something, and if you're confident that you can produce it, just go on and sell it. And you can make improvements. You can learn stuff. Things are always going to have to change anyway. You can't make one pair of shoes and sell it to 1,000 people. You have to make different sizes. So you still have to adjust your approach along the way. But, you can do that as you go along. You don't have to focus on it right now in the beginning. So, yeah, so those are the things that I learned. And just be yourself and try to bring value to your customer and solve a problem, and I think that will work out well. So lastly, I'll talk about, well, how does that relate to me today? Because when I said the hats that I put on, I didn't say that I was a web designer. I no longer really design websites. I still make websites. I make lots of websites for a lot of people, but I don't really do it for a business. Like, again, there's a skill set that I can contribute to things, but I don't do it for work, because I don't really feel like I want to be subjecting myself to the subjective view of how other people view the things that I create. But this is really a good skill set, because if I need to launch a new product, do a new line, do a new YouTube channel, doing anything, just go and buy a domain and throw up a website. It takes not very long time. I still have the skills, can do it, and I don't have to pay other people to do it. So that's important. So even though you might gain skills that you don't want to practice, or you don't want to make money from it, as an entrepreneur, the more skills you have, the better it is you are doing something, and the more efficient you can be, and it saves you money. And by saving you money, it's really making you money, because you're not taking the money you make and paying for something, like preparing your taxes or changing oil in your car. Depends on what you like to do. Doing a lot of things or will save you money. Like, for example, I used to own, this is a different story for a different day, but I used to own an auto shop. I used to work as a car mechanic and motorcycle mechanic. I had my own motorcycle store, so I can change the brakes on my car. I always change the brakes on every single one of my cars, and it saves so much money. Oil changes I don't do anymore, because it doesn't save enough money for me to justify actually spending the time to go do it. I'll just take it somewhere to get changed. But brakes, you take your car to a brake shop, they can charge you what, $200 for labor and another $100 for parts. In all, I can buy the best brake pads online for $50, so I can change my brakes in $50 in an hour. So, and then I save $250. That almost, it's worth it for me. And on top of that, I do a better job than most mechanics. So I know what I'm doing. So because I used to work on customers' cars and bikes and on high performance stuff, so I know what I'm doing, and I trust my work more, because I take the time to do it right. So that's another thing. So as an entrepreneur, you will get exposed to a lot of things, and don't be afraid to try things out, especially for yourself. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You learned your lesson, and if it works out, that's something you gain that you can use in the future. And I always thought that it was those are valuable experiences, and I highly encourage any of you who want to be entrepreneurs to gain as many experiences as you can, and diverse set of experiences, even things that you don't think that you will ever do. Just try it out and give it a try. Maybe it will take, maybe you really enjoy it, and if not, even if not, you will gain a valuable perspective that will help you later on in your career. So that is well, I guess that's another lesson. So all those things that I learned early on, I'm still using at every business venture that I do, and to today. And through these entrepreneurship talks, I'll introduce more and more of these ventures that I'm involved in, and hopefully that you can learn something from me sharing these stories. So, all right. So how did I do in this first plunge? And so this is gonna go on YouTube Live, and it will be saved and replayable on Instagram. I just find out that if you didn't watch it, it's gonna go away in a day, but that's okay. If you really want to watch it, you can come to YouTube and watch it. And the audio for this session will be my on my podcast for the first episode this week. And I will continue to try to do better and set this up and talk to you guys. And hopefully, I can provide more inspirations as we go along. So, this is a new journey I'm taking on. And I'm happy that any of you join me for this journey. And, you know, uh, I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy sharing my stories. I enjoy trying to help others. I've always did. That's why I like teaching. And for me to expand my audience, it's the greatest thing. So please join me in the future. I'll probably end up making this Tuesday night, every Tuesday night, and I'll probably do another session on Thursday night. But at least Tuesday night, because this is my teaching day. I did 5 classes today, and I'm going to do, talk, and I'm going to wind down by talking more about being an entrepreneur. And one thing, so I started off by talking about wearing hats and also wearing t-shirts. So this is what happens when you're in a virus, in a coronavirus, stay at home. You kind of get bored, and sometimes you want to do something interesting. So I went and made a 2-minute video of me sitting next to me, one of me wearing a t-shirt, the other one wearing a dinner jacket and a bow tie, and trying to figure out if I really should change my appearance on these videos to wearing more official, more professional clothing, or just continue with the t-shirts. And I really want to hear what everybody think about that. And I try to be funny in that video, so go watch the video. It's on my channel. It's the featured video on my channel on YouTube. And if you're on Instagram, the YouTube channel is Dafan the PRofessorZ. Go look it up and watch that video. At the very least, get a chuckle out of it. If you think I'm not an actor, but I try. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. And give me a vote. Let me know what you think. And yes, so thank you for watching. And I will do this whenever I get a chance to. I'll do this more. I enjoy this, and hopefully you will enjoy as well as my audience grows and as I mature and move further into this journey. And hopefully when the world opens back up again, I can actually go outside and do more vlogs and do more live stream from the projects that I'm doing, that I'm working on, so you can actually get a sense of everything about what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, and share the excitement, because it's really exciting to be in my life. When I was when was it? I used to go and people used to tell me that you are like the most interesting man in the world. I'm like, well, I'm not that old at the time. I'm not that old, and I think I want to live longer than doing a whole bunch of hazardous things. But I have done a lot of interesting things. I will share with you guys in the future, and hopefully you enjoy these story times. People tend to enjoy them when I tell them these stories, so hopefully I can replicate that here. All right, thank you very much for watching. Let's keep this to a half an hour today, and I will see you next time. Have a good week, everyone. Stay safe and be successful.